What if tomorrow you woke up to a red-stained sky, a deafening roar splitting the earth, and the end of the world as we know it? This isn't a movie. It's not science fiction. Beneath the ground at Yellowstone lies one of the most dangerous monsters on the planet, a supervolcano capable of wiping out our way of life in a matter of hours. In this video, we're going to explore what would happen if Yellowstone erupted today. How far would the destruction reach? What would a world without sunlight, without crops, without a future look like? Could we survive a decade of volcanic winter? In the end, you'll realize that this scenario is not just terrifying. It's real, and it's right beneath our feet at this very moment. Beneath the serene and seemingly harmless landscapes of Yellowstone National Park, located in the state of Wyoming, USA, lies something colossal. Something that sleeps, for now. A geological beast that has already awakened in the past. It has erupted 3 times in the last 2 million years, and each time it roared, the entire world felt the consequences. Each eruption caused changes so profound they impacted the global climate, life on Earth, and the very course of natural history. But this isn't just another volcano like the ones that form mountain peaks topped with smoke. No, this is something much bigger, much more terrifying. We're talking about a supervolcano. One so massive that it doesn't even have the classic cone or mountain shape. Instead, it presents itself as a caldera, a vast underground cavity filled with magma at extreme temperatures, hidden just beneath the surface. If this structure were to explode tomorrow, the whole world would know within hours. And not just know, we would feel it profoundly. But before we panic, pack our things, leave our homes, or search for underground shelters, let's take a moment to understand. What exactly is a supervolcano? And what makes it such a terrifying threat? A supervolcano isn't defined just by its massive size, but by the level of destruction it can unleash. It's essentially a sleeping monster beneath the earth capable of releasing thousands of cubic kilometers of volcanic material, ash, rocks, toxic gases, in one single gigantic explosion. To give you a clear comparison, an eruption of this kind could be up to 1,000 times more powerful than the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980, which on its own was already devastating. Yes, we're talking about an energy release so massive it could cover entire continents in ash, darken the skies for months, collapse global agriculture, disrupt weather systems, and drastically reduce our chances of sustaining life as we know it. It would mean thousands of times more ash, more destruction, and sadly, far less hope. If the Yellowstone supervolcano were to erupt tomorrow, listen carefully, absolutely no one, and I repeat, no one, living within a 1,000-kilometer radius of the epicenter would be safe. It wouldn't matter if you were well prepared, had a reinforced underground bunker, high-tech gas mask, or years' worth of stored food. None of that would matter. The ash cloud generated by the explosion would be so dense, so toxic, and so lethal that simply breathing would become impossible. It would be like trying to inhale death. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Lava, that iconic image we usually see in natural disaster movies, wouldn't actually be the main problem. In fact, very little lava would emerge. The magma wouldn't flow slowly like a glowing, red, viscous river. Instead, most of the volcanic material would be violently ejected into the sky, turning into a massive cloud of microscopic volcanic rock particles, as sharp as they are tiny, like ground glass blades. As these particles begin to fall from the atmosphere, they would blanket everything without distinction. Fields, cities, roads, rooftops. Just 30 centimeters, about 12 inches, of ash accumulation on rooftops would be enough to cause them to collapse under the weight. Structures simply wouldn't withstand it. But the real horror would be breathing it in. These particles would act like a mix of cement dust and glass shards. They would enter your lungs with each breath, mix with your body's natural moisture, harden, and slowly suffocate you from the inside. There would be no way to stop it. No possible escape. The central and western regions of the United States will be completely buried under a thick gray blanket. Entire cities would become unrecognizable. Even the East Coast, though much farther from the eruption site, would receive its share of the disaster, at least a centimeter of volcanic ash. And that single centimeter would be enough to shut down air traffic, ruin entire crops, cause widespread respiratory illnesses, and disrupt the daily lives of millions. And this wouldn't just stay in America. The finer particles, carried by high-altitude winds, would cross the Atlantic Ocean. Even some parts of Europe could see the sky slowly darken, stained by that haze of suspended volcanic dust. a constant reminder that when the Earth decides to awaken, it asks no one for permission. And no, this wouldn't be a one-day event. That ash suspended in the atmosphere would block sunlight for weeks, for months, for years. Global temperatures would drop by about 10 degrees. The climate will become drier, colder, and more hostile. They call it a volcanic winter. And it's not a pretty nickname. It's a decade of hunger, disease, mass migration, and chaos. Crops would fail. Animals would die. Water sources would become contaminated. Solar energy would stop being effective. And the world, little by little, would enter a new era, not of ice, but of darkness. Now imagine you survive the initial explosion. You spend your days wearing a mask over your face, trying to grow something under cloudy skies and bone-chilling cold, hearing news of fires, famines, and conflicts. Civilization as we know it would collapse. Not because of fire, but because of the lack of sunlight, food, and clean air. But wait, there's a bit of relief. According to scientists, a supereruption of that scale at Yellowstone is unlikely to happen in our lifetime. What is more likely and more frequent are two other, less catastrophic types of eruptions. The first is a hydrothermal eruption. No lava here, just steam. Massive geysers of steam and rock hurled into the air due to built-up pressure. It would be destructive in Yellowstone and the surrounding area, but not on a global scale. The second, and more common, is a simple lava eruption. Since the last supereruption about 640,000 years ago, there have been around 50 small eruptions in Yellowstone. None of them have caused any deaths, only slow, predictable lava flows. For now, the monster sleeps. But that doesn't mean we should ignore it. Yellowstone is a geological clock, and while we can't predict exactly when it will go tick, we can observe its pulse. Scientists monitor the ground, the geysers, and the earthquakes, any sign that something might be shifting deep below. Because when it comes to a supervolcano, a single tremor could be the signal that the planet is about to change. And would you be ready to wake up in a world without sunlight? Could humanity survive a catastrophe that began millions of years ago, but only needs a single second to erupt?